Story: Shadows on Granite Street. My name is Richard Caldwell. I am 70 years old and I have spent my entire life working as a sheriff in America. Over half a century of service, I've seen a lot. Criminals who thought they could outsmart the law, families who lost hope, streets ruled by shadows. I've investigated dozens of complex cases, heard hundreds of stories, and very little could surprise me. But what happened on Granite Street in Boston shook me to my core. This story was real, too real to ever forget. A muffled woman's voice, trembling with fear, reached me. "My brother, he's missing. The police aren't doing anything. Please help." Her brother's name was Dylan Harper, 26 years old. He lived in an old district on the outskirts of Boston, on Granite Street. The neighborhood was quiet, with 19th century brick houses, narrow alleys, and long shadows cast by the streetlights. At first glance, it seemed like an ordinary suburb, but something about this street was unsettling. Dylan had been missing for almost a week. Neighbors told the police they had seen a strange man in a long coat, often standing near the Harper house, watching the apartment. The police checked the street but found no trace of the intruder. I decided to act on my own. In the evening, I went to Granite Street, inspecting houses and yards. Everything looked calm, but I noticed strange details. Several doors were scratched, windows were boarded up, and one door had an old "for sale" sign, even though the owners hadn't been there for years. At the entrance to the Harper house, I found a small note tucked under the doormat. "He is watching you. Trust no one." A chill ran down my spine. I photographed the note and took it with me. Inside Dylan's apartment, everything seemed normal. The phone was on the table, the laptop was on, showing drafts of messages to a friend, but Dylan himself was nowhere to be found. On the wall, I noticed small scratches, as if someone had been leaving signs. I photographed them, but didn't understand their meaning. It became immediately clear his disappearance was not random. Someone was watching, carefully planning every step. Over the next few days, I questioned neighbors and inspected the street. One old man mentioned that in a derelict building at the corner of Granite Street and Oldry Avenue, there used to be an artist's workshop, long abandoned. I decided to check it. Inside, the air was cold, dusty, and smelled of mildew. The floor was covered with papers and old canvases. Among them, I found Dylan's diary. The pages were chaotically written, but one thing repeated: observation, traces, a strange man who never leaves. A few days later, I noticed a black van parked near my office. The driver's face was hidden. Every time I approached the window, the vehicle would move. I realized someone was not only following Dylan, but also watching me. At the same time, envelopes appeared in my mailbox with no return address, photographs of the street, pictures of the Harper house, and short notes. "Watch but don't breathe. He is nearby. Watch carefully." This game was tense, but I understood. Someone was trying to push me toward a discovery. I began looking for witnesses among the neighbors. Several people had seen Dylan on the street the day he disappeared, accompanied by a tall man with a backpack who trusted no one. One teenager said he saw the man quickly get into the van, and Dylan followed him, saying nothing. Each new account added to the paranoia. Someone was manipulating people, and Dylan was caught in a dangerous game. One night, I heard a noise on the stairs in my office. I grabbed a flashlight and cautiously went out. On the floor were old newspapers and sheets deliberately left behind. Photos of Dylan, notes about him observing the street. Inside the office, I noticed a strange object, a small video camera connected to a laptop. On the screen, Dylan walking down the street, followed by the van. The camera recorded a tall man in a long coat approaching him and whispering something. My heart froze. Who was this man, and what had he done to Dylan? The next day, I decided to act. Following the street, I noticed the van heading toward an abandoned warehouse. Inside was a small room with a surveillance camera and recorded videos from the past weeks. I saw everything. Dylan had been detained, but not harmed. He was held to pressure his family into giving information about the local crime network. The man in the coat, Leonard Hayes, an influential figure controlling the district in several disappearances. Every video revealed his methods: manipulation, psychological pressure, surveillance. I tried to enter, but Leonard was ready. He threatened with a weapon, but thanks to a secret connection with the police, I managed to call for backup. Leonard tried to escape, but the police arrested him and Dylan was freed. The street's secrets, the shadows on Granite Street, were finally revealed. But I realized the truth doesn't always bring peace. People involved in Hayes' game were forever changed. Dylan returned to a normal life but feared the night. I continued my investigations, but every time I passed Granite Street, I felt the cold footsteps behind me, in a shadow that was always near.